When I first heard about human trafficking several years ago, I was reminded of an event in my own life where I felt absolutely terrified and alone. When I was 20, I decided to go to a college house party. Like most college parties, there were lots of people, loud music, drinking, lots of fun. It was the winter time, so I remember I was with a friend of mine, and I took her jacket and mine and went to a room where they said we could place our things. So I went into the room, put my coat down, and I heard the door close behind me and lock. I turned around to find a guy that I knew. I walked over to the door, trying to get out, and he grabbed me. He proceeded to try and shove me down to the ground, and I knew in that instant that if I did not get free, that I was going to be raped. So I did everything in my human ability. I kicked, I screamed, no one heard. I punched, and I shoved him off of me. I ran to the other side of the room, absolutely terrified. He would move away from the door, and I would run and try and get out of the room. He was much bigger than me, so he would always block and try and grab me. But I knew I couldn't let him touch me. This little cat and mouse game went on for about 10 to 15 minutes before my friend came and found me, knocked on the door, and tried to rip it open. He calmly walks over to the door, unlocks it, and walked out like nothing had happened, like he'd done nothing wrong. This made me think of that even for that brief period of time, I was so terrified that I can't imagine living that scared for years of your life. It brought me to a place where I started to question things like, what does it mean to be free? Freedom is defined as not being enslaved or imprisoned. Human trafficking takes away a person's basic human right of dignity and freedom. It uses force, coercion to use someone's body or labor through means of fraud, force, so that they can buy or sell someone else. Every day, someone is being bought and sold, and their freedom is being stolen from them. This brought up other questions like, how is this possible? How do we live in the most advanced society, and yet there are millions of people trapped worldwide in slavery? How is it that we've come to a place of so much violence against each other that we see each other as commodities and not as humans? This made me start to think about why this is happening. Well, there's a demand for it. According to the International Labor Report of 2012, human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. There's a demand for sex slave victims to work in strip clubs and as prostitutes. There is a need for sex trafficking victims to work at events such as the Super Bowl and the Olympics. There's a demand for labor trafficking to work for organizations so that they can make goods cheaply and sell them for a higher profit. There's a demand for free or cheap labor to work at farms, and the list goes on and on and on. Women are constantly seen as sex objects. Men too. Everywhere we turn, we are sexualized. We are seen as something to benefit someone else. We're basically seen as commodities. And the price of a human trafficking victim is $90. You could buy someone for $90. I don't know how this is even possible. How have we come to this place where you can buy someone for $90? So how does this happen? People are exploited with jobs that don't exist. They're given visions of a better hope and a better future by traffickers. Then they might be forced to take drugs, which enslaves them into addiction, and sold to sex slavery, or made to repay a debt that is not repayable. Some of them are exploited by family members, loved ones, significant others even. Others are brought to countries to work for little or no wages, and then threatened with deportation if they report it. Young boys and girls are constantly being lured online through dating websites and apps and something called Backpage.com. Now, most people believe that human trafficking happens in other countries. but it happens here in the US and even here in Colorado, even Mesa County. One such story is about a girl named Tia. She was a bright, beautiful girl from South Carolina, and she was 15 years old. She had lots of potential, and she couldn't wait to get out into the world and offer all of her dreams and goals. That changed in one night. Tia went out with her friends, and she met an older man. He convinced her to come home with him, knowing she was underage. By force, she reluctantly went, and he exploited her, then posted her about it online and offered her to other men for a price. Scared for her life, she did whatever he told her to do. He forced drugs into her body, he made her sexually service clients regularly, and dress provocatively. Because of the horrific conditions, she then began to suffer from various diseases, but he would not allow her to get medical attention. After one particularly violent night, the law enforcement agencies found her and took her to a place called A21. A21 is an organization that works with human trafficking victims and survivors in 11 countries, including the US. When the staff there saw her, they knew her state was devastating, but that was the first day of freedom and healing for her. Today, Tia has graduated from school, has a job, and is rediscovering her hopes and dreams. But let's get a little closer to home. In Colorado, in October of 2016, the FBI spearheaded a task force that arrested 11 pimps, 32 customers of prostitution, and saved 9 child sex trafficking victims. In Colorado, authorities have started to look at the way that traffickers are recruiting victims through social media websites such as Facebook, Grindr, and Meet Me. In Mesa County, during that same period of time, law enforcement agencies, along with the FBI, arrested 6 men, 2 being registered sex offenders, on various charges, such as child prostitution, internet luring, and patronizing of a child, along with aiding to delinquency of a minor. Then in 2017, last year, there was a suspect who tried to sell an undercover officer a 3-month-old baby and a 5-year-old child for $600. You can see this is a problem that affects all of us, no matter where you live, even here in Mesa County. So, what can you do about it? Well, first of all, you can report it. If you see it or suspect it, report it. There are local and national hotlines that you can call to report the activity. Believe it. Believe it exists. It exists everywhere. Get involved, locally, nationally, internationally. Here in Western Colorado, we have a task force that works with law enforcement and other agencies to help combat human trafficking. Keep learning and educating yourself. Check out organizations like A21, whose goal is to reach, rescue, and restore people's lives. And then be a conscious consumer. Know that some of our actions could be aiding in human trafficking, such as buying clothing or goods from organizations or companies that you know suffer from or take advantage of people and are basically taking people's rights, have major human rights violations. Going to that strip club, hiring a prostitute, going to a massage parlor where none of the employees speak English except to help you, and it always seems a little suspicious, and they always seemed a little bit afraid. So today, I ask you to think about others before you think about yourself, to speak for those people that cannot speak for themselves. See other people as your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, or someone that you love and that you care about. Because the only way that we can end human trafficking is by working together. And that's how we can make sure that everyone is free. Thank you.